As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. I was born into freedom in a wonderful land of mountains and plains, rivers and lakes. Forever American is what I am. A past as rich as any can be. My father's worked hard to give this to me. I love this place I come from. To live another way I cannot foresee. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. As an American, I've been to the peaks of majestic mountains where the air is sweet. I've watched the eagle as it soars in beautiful skies that just can't be ignored. And by this country I'll always stand, for freedom and liberty for every man. When times are hard and things get rough, America always stands ready and rough. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. Forever American is what I am.
There, can you hear me now? Hopefully you can hear me now. Let me fix that setting real quick so that does not happen again. I'm sorry about that, you guys. I thought my microphone was attached to this channel anyways. There we go. Hopefully that's better. Can you hear me now? Good. But thank you guys for being here. Of course, hit that share button, of course, because we've got only 6 people in here tonight. I don't know where everybody is. So hi, Pam. Hi, Brian. Hi, Nana. Hi, Rodney. Of course, hi, Richard. God bless you all for being here. Of course, hi, Pam as well. I said hi, Pam, didn't I? I know I did. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about, of course, though. Of course, more stuff coming out about what they're going to try to do to Trump. Of course, this is ridiculous in the first place. These so-called indictments on Trump, are they constitutionally legitimate? It's a big question. I mean, the question is, are they really indicting him for January 6th? Because they don't have an insurrection charge on there. They don't have any of that. They have a conspiracy to impede the election and obstruction of the right to vote. Neither one of those things did he do. So, of course, charging them with, of course, saying he's charging with insurrection for January 6th, and the actual charges don't make sense. Because, of course, January 6th, they might have a question. But all Trump has to do is say he didn't truly believe the election results, which I don't think anybody can question that. I mean, it's ridiculous. If Trump decided to make the speech because he didn't believe the election results were true, there's nothing they can do. I mean, simply put, there's no jurisdiction. There's no case. No question of which court has the authority. There's no case, period. For it to even be entertained, it is ridiculous. I mean, there's no criminal culpability. I mean, the question for the criminal justice and federal court, the case involving acts like then sitting president, this has a real legitimate question of what they're trying to do, because he was still then the sitting president. How long has it been? I mean, since any president had to use qualified immunity? Well, he had qualified immunity as the president of the United States. He did not make a speech to incite a riot. He asked them to go calmly and peacefully and make their voices heard. That is not illegal. Freedom of speech is not illegal in America, and it will never be. That's what they're trying to do, is make speech illegal. I mean, the DOJ, of course, is asking the court now to limit what Trump can say publicly about the January 6th case. The case is against him. If he wants to disclose information, he has free legal opportunity to do so. There's no such thing as filing a protection order against the Justice Department. This is ridiculous. Limiting what he can publicly say about the ongoing election interference case is just ridiculous. I mean, this is a joke. What country do we live in now? That's the question. Going further down this rabbit hole every day just gets worse. I mean, if people aren't allowed to use public information to dispose or tell people what's actually happening, I mean, we already know the grand jury transcripts. I mean, saying it'll be harmful for witnesses or adversarial effects on fair administration of justice in this case is ridiculous. This case has no bearing in court, much less anything else. I mean, even DeSantis saying election fraud theories promoted by Trump did not prove to be true, but it doesn't mean he did anything wrong. Just by him believing that his theories of election fraud were true, didn't violate any rules, didn't violate any freedom of speech, didn't incite riots. I mean, what's legal and what's not in elections now? You can't challenge an election? What if you know it's blatantly fraud? You can't do it anyways, according to these new rules. I mean, it's ridiculous. The unfolding of what we're seeing now is more of a political attack on any person that decides to stand up and have a voice. They're literally using charges where two or more people protest and it disrupts somebody. That's this one of the charges that they're using on this is if two or more people protest and it disrupts somebody, they could be held for criminal conspiracy. That's what they're using, a charge from 1920. Ridiculousness. Charge that's never been used in the history since it's been put on the books. So saying this was election interference conducted by Donald Trump, it wasn't. He wanted people's voices to be heard. I mean, his efforts going up to January 6th to attack on the Capitol, and what he was saying, never once did he say that he wanted people to be forceful or riot or cause damage. Watching these people castrate a political rival because they want to see what they can do for 2024 at this point. This is not about anything now. Because this trial is not going to happen before 2024. None of these trials will be over before the next presidential election. This is about trying to impede him getting elected in the first place. The left is beyond scared right now. We look at what the left's doing, not just, of course, with their acts to these cases, to everything else that's happening. Democrats are finding that they can't get funding for anything, no matter how hard they try. Hi, LJ, I didn't see you in here. Hi, Tia. Please hit that share button. I don't know where everybody is tonight, but this is crazy. Of course, amongst all this happening, food shortages are happening once again, and food prices are going to be on the rise here as they are globally. Food commodities like rice and vegetable oil are on the rise in the first time, period, in this ongoing problem. But things like vegetable oil are used in every product or processed product that you see in a grocery store. So how much impact is that going to have on price? We already know the feds are talking about an interest rate hike to try to tame the inflation before it starts again. Meanwhile, we're having jobs are showing obvious losses. I mean, this is crazy. And yes, they're blaming Russia again for pulling out of a wartime agreement after, of course, now we're finding out the truth. Ukrainians hit a Russian tanker with a sea drone near the Crimean Bridge. Russian ships were hit twice in 24 hours, not warships. These are civilian ships that happen to fly under the Russian flag. Ukrainian drones full of explosives struck Russian fuel tankers overnight near the bridge linking Russia to annexed Crimea. I mean, this is ridiculous. These were full of oil, too, and they knew that. And, of course, these ships did leak, or there was problems in of course, there was only 450 kilograms of explosives that hit the vessel as it was transporting fuel. But if this fuel would have leaked out, it would have been an environmental disaster. And, of course, that's against the rules of war. We don't care anymore. We're not going to attack Ukraine for doing this. Knowing that the tanker was fully and well loaded with fuel, Ukraine decided to do this. A joint operation between Ukraine's Navy and security service, supposedly, but they don't have any ships left. Supposedly, Ukraine did this on their own, trying to destroy Russian military infrastructure, and, of course, and Russia or controlled territory of Ukraine is crucial to the offense, according to them. But attacking fuel ships that are not Russian military ships, these are civilian-owned ships, transporting fuel while at sea, is going to cause an extreme risk, not just for what we're seeing now, but a big uptake in war. Moscow bombed Ukrainian ports, of course, because what happened and withdrawing from the UN-backed deal about the grain exports, those are all risks that are going to come forward. Now, Ukraine is saying that the fuel and this tanker was supplied by Russian troops in Syria, supposedly, to, of course, being supplied to Russian troops in Syria. So, supposedly this ship was transporting oil into Syria and only giving it to ships. We don't even know this truth anymore. This is speculative services that Ukraine is using now to attack oil vessels, which the U.S. is actively in the Gulf right now. Again, offering armed escorts to oil vessels because Iran tried to pirate some of them, not blow them up. Blowing them up would be an economical disaster. Of course, if Iran tried to do that, they would be immediately attacked by the U.S. and other countries. But we're watching Ukraine actively use weapons provided by the United States. These sea drones are ours, let's be honest. Of course, when this ship was being pulled by tugs, 2 tugboats, I mean, it's ridiculous. These sea drones, of course, being given to Ukraine by us, now being used against civilian vessels. This is one step away from more problems. I mean, the Department of Defense is warning disruptions of the Army and the Marines because of the lack of leaders. Not even the soldiers. We don't have enough soldiers. That's one problem. But our troop readiness is at an all-time low. Retention is at risk. The Army chiefs have stepped down Friday, of course, leaving the military to ground combat forces without Senate confirmed leaders for the first time in history. We're not talking just little leadership. We're talking primary leadership that has to be confirmed to the Senate. Now having problems. We can say whatever we want, but we gotta say the truth. Military recruitment is down because of what is in office and what's going on with our country. It's obvious at this point. We have people stepping down that are chiefs, Army chiefs, stepping down and leaving the military. 2 of them on Friday. Somebody should wake up. And the confirmation of next Army Chief and Marine Commandment amongst more than 300 military nominees are being stalled right now over the Pentagon's policy to pay for travel when service members have to go out of state for abortion. For abortion. That's what it is. Now, this is a problem. Why is the U.S. paying for abortions? Gravity bombs, yeah. Well, I'll get more into it when we hear more, but all I've seen it on was a briefing from the Pentagon so far. Of course, I wanted to describe what they were so people actually knew. Biden should be gone. Biden should have been removed the second, maybe not removed, but temporarily suspended from active duties as president as soon as there was questions about corruption. Now that we confirmed corruption, there's no question he is guilty of treason. By acting in the interest of other countries while supposed to be acting as the supreme leader of our country or the second in charge, that is treason. Because he was giving those other interests, the other countries' interests, power before our own citizens. And it's still happening today. As we see military funding being dumped to other countries, left and right. Well, meanwhile, our military is not ready. We don't have leaders in place to ensure readiness of our forces, and we're pushing for war. Think a global food shortage is going to be an issue? Oh no, they're going to keep pushing until we have serious issues. Not just higher price of food that we can't afford. I mean, most people can't afford their homes at this point, their cars, their livelihoods. It's just devastating watching what this all unfold. Of course, political charges against Trump while the Biden family is trying to hide behind everything else. Biden family is not being talked about on any mainstream media about the corruption and the coercion and the bribery. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Watching this all unfold day by day, getting worse and worse. As U.S. citizens, you should be disgusted at what has become in our country. Yeah, we're not pushing for war. Our government is pushing for war. Let's put it that way. When I say we, when I'm talking about the government, unfortunately, it is us. Yeah, gasoline prices are going to keep going up. 2 major gas and oil companies in the U.S. have major leases on that freaking millions of acres of land that Biden just signed that can no longer be mined. They already paid the government for the leases. One 270 acres, another 140 acres. Leases paid by the companies. They have to recoup that cost somehow. They're not getting more oil. People need to stand up and do something at this point. Problem is, you stand up and do something, then you're going to be charged with conspiracy charges. And or whatever they want to charge you with, and it's not taking this lightly, because they have charged these people with salacious conspiracy charges that have been on January 6th, not charging them with insurrection, but charging them with a crime, and then sentencing them longer than even the Justice Department wants to put them in for being involved with January 6th, just showing up there, not going in the building, not even doing anything else. Anybody they charge, they're trying to throw this extra charge on them. And of course, we got the judge that managed to get pulled randomly for the January 6th charges against Trump, the one that's charging the longest sentence rates, magically. Nobody's going to say that. Yeah, enough people stand up at once, that's a problem. Because that means you conspired to stand up at once. You conspired. The problem is America is no longer free. We're no longer a free nation. We're no longer a nation of laws and rules. We're a nation of do what we say, not what we do. We'll treat you how we want, and we'll do whatever we want. That's what our government has become. They're still charging people on January 6th that aren't even in prison or in jail. Randomly going to people's houses and pulling them out of their homes and charging them. It's still happening. It's ridiculous, but it's happening. As flashpoints, of course, are happening around America, watching this unfold is just disastrous. The world's in trouble. We know that. We know Europe's in trouble. They're going into major debt. You know, anything that the U.S. has been involved with in Africa, especially West Africa, is now being pushed out. You know what I do with rats when I catch them? I throw the cage right down the river. That's what needs to happen now. Yeah, we had millions of people stand up on January 6th. Problem is, now they're getting charged for standing up. I don't believe in the damage they did to the Capitol. I don't believe that it was necessary for them to go inside. But I believe they're being charged politically and not fairly. And that's the state America is in today. There's no longer a fair rule of law. I mean, look at the riots and protests we had to watch happen, destroying our nation for more than a year prior to that. Of course, nobody says anything about that. That's all okay. According to them, it never happened like that. Those were protests, not riots. So only the left can riot or protest, and the right is always rioting. Or I don't understand, because that's the way it's actually breaking out to be. Yeah, Venezuela. We're not far from it. As we can see, I mean, we'll turn around one day and we'll have runaway inflation, and it'll be over. It'll be truly devastating. But God bless you guys. God bless America. Of course, share this out as much as you can, please. Because I don't know where everybody is tonight, but it is Saturday night, so we understand. A lot of people got a lot of stuff to do. But God bless you guys. God bless America. Stand strong and stand true. Just be prepared, because if Russia decides to drop nukes at this point, it would not surprise me. I know we've heard a lot about threats of nukes, but at this point, I would take it a lot more seriously. God bless you guys. God bless the United States. We need to be. Good night.